Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing, bro?
Good, good.
You home or work?
I'm home.
Okay.
No rest for the weary.
I'm home too,
Yeah.
and I'm taking tomorrow off. I gotta burn some vacation time before the end of the year.
Yeah.
We're gonna carry over this year. We can carry 3 weeks over to next year, but then I got like more than that to burn. So
Yeah. COVID messed us up this year, the commanders, because it was like all hands on deck.
mhm.
So like my vacation from was it late May, I just didn't take. And so
Yeah.
I got all these days backed up, and we can't carry anything over. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
but whatever.
Yeah, I'll be carrying 3 weeks over.
Nice. You're just gonna rub it in, huh?
So I get 3 weeks a year, and I carried 2 weeks from last year. So I had 5 weeks starting this year, and I didn't do anything because of COVID. So
Yeah.
hey, Chief. Hey, Katrina.
Hello.
Hey Trina. Hey boss.
We don't
How
hear
are
you, Chief.
you?
No
Good.
sound,
How you doing?
boss.
Oh, he just
Can you hear me?
Hey
Yes, we
Trina,
can hear
happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Can you hear me
now
now?
we can hear you. Yeah,
So
we can hear
I'm
you now.
just gonna go off
Hey,
video
Chief.
because I'm in the middle of eating. Hi, Katrina.
How
Hello.
are you?
Okay.
But I'll be here. I just don't want to look like a meeting.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
what? We get lunch breaks?
No, it's like, you're on a break, man. You're on a perpetual break. You're paying me.
So just waiting for Nada, right?
Yeah. Wait, I was jealous. You had the nice background going on. I had to have I didn't know how to do it. I had to have my grandson hook me up.
And I use different backgrounds too. Sometimes I use the Guardians background.
That was hot. I said, Tommy, how you do that? You know the young people know.
Oh yeah, they know everything.
How's everybody's day so far?
So far, so good.
Good.
Hopefully,
Mine too.
How's yours?
It's good. I'm off.
yeah, I'm working from home today. Not trying to go to
Yeah.
the city. Yeah.
So the bad
Well,
part,
that's a good.
the bad part is that I'm eating lunch on a Zoom at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But the good part is the people that I'm on the Zoom with. So I'll take that as a
Oh, thank you.
positive
Awesome.
thing. See what? See? Look, I don't even speak.
That feels good. Aw.
All right, Nada, where are you? She said she was good.
Tommy, can you bring me a pen? Mm.
Hi, Nada. Okay, the gang's all here.
Thank you.
How is everybody?
Great, thanks. How
Good.
are you?
Good.
But how are you?
I'm
How are you?
expecting someone to pick some things up, so I'll just put myself on mute when she comes.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to get started, Katrina?
Okay. Alrighty. So the issue at hand at this moment, Chief Castelli has been awesome with getting me the information on the complaints for the past 3 years, whatever we requested, and I appreciate that. And does anybody else have any questions about that information? Or
Hey, quick question. This for 3 years? I thought it was just for the 2020.
It was, I didn't send you 18 and 19?
I thought it's because it's the top of it says 2020 internal affairs. I thought it was just for 1 year.
You know what? Maybe I didn't send 18 and 19. I think when I thought I sent that, I probably missed the attachments.
Okay.
But we have 18 and 19 also. So I'm sorry about that. I'll get
No
that
problem.
to you.
No problem. I mean, I thought it, I'm glad it looked like a low number. Out of the 21 total cases here, 17 are from 2020 because the other, I think 4 were left over from previous years. And out of 17, it looks like only 7 were police encounters with the public. The other 13 or whatever. I'm sorry, the other 10 look like internal stuff like an accident, drive while intoxicated, things of that nature. Domestic, domestic incident, I guess a police officer with their spouse, whatever. But it doesn't look like there's only 7 cases in 2020 where the police had a complaint stemming from a situation with a member of the public. Is that correct, Chief?
Yeah, so, yeah, in terms of external would be anything outside that was not generated within the police department. So, yeah, it would be from a citizen, from the DA, from anywhere, anybody not affiliated with the police department. So that's correct. And I think the ones where it says originated by the DA, usually if we arrest somebody, and I guess when the DA has a conference hearing with the defendant's lawyer, if the defendant had made any complaints to their own lawyer, they bring it up to the DA. And what the DA has had in place is, I guess, a public integrity unit, and they start their own case. But I guess the DA's policy or their operation is to notify us to have our internal affairs do an investigation, provide them with a summary, and I guess if they are satisfied with our investigation, it stays there, and if they're not, I assume they would do their own or at least ask more questions. So yeah. But
okay, so when they send the case back to you, they follow up with you to see what the results were, or
they do.
That's how they.
We
okay.
send them a summary of our findings. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the case, whatever the case was that the person was arrested for, gets put on hold until the findings of the I think what the public integrity, the DA's public integrity, is satisfied. So they don't go forward with any of the criminal prosecution until the internal stuff is figured out.
Okay. Sorry, Katrina.
No, that was fine. The who is satisfied?
The DA.
The DA is satisfied.
Not us.
Okay. In these cases, what that the DA talks with the attorney.
Correct.
Do they have a private attorney or is it a public defender?
I don't know. That's not anything that we would get involved in from my end, but it's generally one or the other. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who their representation is. I could just tell you that it's, in the notes that I gave you, it's generated by the DA, just to let you know where it's coming from. And if there's no documentation, there's an assumption that it came from a citizen, a member of the public.
Okay.
All right. Quick question. I sent this thing out that we got from Scott. I can't think of his last name. He created a spreadsheet with all the arrest data from throughout the county, the different police departments, and he pretty much said share with everybody. So something like that. I mean, I think that would be something that would interest a lot of police departments to see how their department is doing as far as arrests with minorities, male blacks, male Hispanics, female blacks, but it pretty much only doesn't say male or female, but it just goes to African Americans and Hispanics. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, you Chief and Captain Spencer.
Isn't that data uploaded, like all of our arrests uploaded to, we send up our numbers to the state every month, correct?
Well, this was the state. This guy Scott pulled all the data from the state DOJ and he dropped it onto a spreadsheet from all the departments within Westchester County. And just today he uploaded the county police, the DA's office, state police, throughway police, and other county organizations, law enforcement
Right.
organizations.
Right. I know we have to submit universal crime report data to the state, and I think they do a report quarterly like that, but I don't know how they break it down with race and ethnicity. But yeah, that would be good to compare all departments.
Yeah, actually I looked at because they have every department in Westchester, and I was looking at White Plains specifically, and the population of White Plains African American is 12%, and the number of arrests for African Americans is 43%, which is
You cut out. What was the percentage?
the arrest percentage is 43%. The population is 12%.
That's skewed though, Wade. Partially because if you compare a city like White Plains to a bedtime community like, let's say, Bedford police is probably arresting residents of Bedford, where White Plains, since we have a high influx of folks during the day, and larceny is our driving factor on our CompStat report, a lot of those arrests aren't White Plains residents. So those numbers are skewed.
No,
you remember when you were working street crime that the crews that would come up weren't from White Plains.
I agree, and they break it down to larceny, to property crimes too. So outside of property crimes, if you just take everything else, the numbers are still kind of similar.
I don't know what is this 2020 data or 19 or what
I believe it's 2019 data.
Okay.
The entire year.
So I have been trying to put stuff together with our LERM system. I'm not going to lie to you, it hasn't always been easy. Based on what the state wants, we've been changing some of our categories and then to try to match up the categories. So I will have something for you. I could probably tell you right off the bat, we're trying to break it down between, complaints and crimes in progress. It's because to me, if we're responding on something that somebody else is generating, we're responding, we're reacting to that.
Yeah.
And the stats do show that we are, I believe our pet of larceny shoplifting, it is overwhelmingly minority. So I think part of it is breaking out our proactive type of arrests. Who are our cops stopping and arresting? I think it is important to know. And I'm trying to kind of isolate that, and I can give it to you. It's just not exactly easy. You know what I mean? Because the way we put this system in and then had to start changing and fine tuning things. If I ask for something from 2017, it may not be the same as 2019, and I'm just trying to put it together so the numbers are accurate, and then I can give it to you guys. So, by Friday maybe. I know I just got some from my sergeant who's been crunching the numbers, and but he's on vacation for the holidays. But I can give you that, and you can evaluate it. And
No,
I'm trying to get. I don't have ticket numbers, but I have suspended license arrests to see how that shakes out too, to see if it's a representative of who we're pulling over. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I get it.
Right. And I definitely get. I definitely understand the difference between a police initiated arrest and following a complaint from a citizen saying he did this, and there's it's enough to charge him. That's it's totally different. Different situation. So, and it's state numbers that with public don't have that differential.
Right.
It just says arrest, and that's it.
Yeah, because without a doubt, our numbers are going to not be reflective of our demographics, without a doubt. I don't know if our proactivity is going to be any closer either. You know what I mean? If the people were stopping in general, but at least it'll give I think, somewhat of a perspective on what we're doing.
Okay.
And I'm trying to break it out for basically, literally white, black, and then Hispanic, but the state does not consider Hispanic a race, it's an ethnicity. So you could be white Hispanic, black Hispanic. That's where I'm running into a little bit of the figuring out the crunching of the numbers. But for the most part, I mean, if it's you want to focus on, let's say, male blacks, I can probably have that quicker than I can have all the other stuff. You know what I mean? If it's something, if you want a snapshot of that, I could probably get that to you quicker, if you wanted.
Okay. And I know Nada was mentioning, and a lot of police reform committees were mentioning, as far as transparency, posting data like this on the public safety website, just so people can see how White Plains is doing. It can start in 2021. It doesn't. Not actually go back and try to make make things now, because you didn't enter things in a certain way, but maybe moving forward, if that's possible. Starting 2021, having on the every month on the public safety website, have a link that you can see number of arrests, who's arrested, felonies, misdemeanors, even tickets. And I think not even mention stops. And I know police officers don't always know the race of a person that's stopping. They're not going to ask, are you Spanish or black? Because I can't tell. Or you might have mixed race, so it might be a little challenging. But they could either I don't know, something could be done to try to help.
I would love to see that, instead of, and this is maybe not this might be out of the realm of the local committees or whatever, but we do a lot of reporting to the state, but it's only on part 1 crimes. I'd love to see the state have something where we're not constantly duplicating stuff, that we'll report our arrests and we'll report the demographics of arrests, and you can have it available. You know what I mean? Just to I just think it would be better that way, and then it's also a degree of separation. But as you said, if it's a recommendation, it's a valid recommendation, I think, to especially on the transparency.
I think it is valid, and what it's stemming from, we in the purpose is to minimize it, whereas I've seen it, I've witnessed the driving while black, like and it happens, if there's some kind of focus to where the reporting or the transparency to record these numbers, I think that it would deter the focus of individuals that are focusing on particular people and pulling them over just because they're black, or looking for something and writing tickets, and oh well, your headlight is out, or and then it's stemming from it just stemming from other things, whereas somebody else, somebody that's white can drive around with their lights out, no lights on at all, and they can drive all over the place and they're not being stopped. But if somebody black is driving, they're automatically, oh, your light was out in your license plate. A lot of people will be like, well, I never even knew there was a light in the license plate. But it's these things that have happened for years and that are still occurring, like how can, and we can't, of course we can't change the whole country, the whole culture with, because right now we're just focusing on White Plains. How can we bring this awareness to stop these things from happening in White Plains? What can we form? So if making the transparency of these arrests, like these occurrences, if that's not going to, if that's not a solution, or if that's going to be repetitious to the arrests, then what can we do to see how White Plains is coming up in their numbers as a stopping? Are they being fair with their stops? Are they stopping, everybody? Are they focusing on just Black people doing wrong, just Hispanic people? Who are they pulling over? What, or even stopping, walking down the street? Who are they questioning? Who are they questioning, stopping on the spot? Let me see some ID. You're trespassing. That was a common thing for a while. There were a lot of minorities that were getting arrested and ticketed for trespassing. And I understand where it was stemming from when they had the big drug sales throughout Winbrook Housing Project, but there were a lot of officers that used this as their way of, well, you're trespassing. That's not that. How can we stop that, or what can we do? What is another solution?
So, in terms of the tickets, I will admit that it's a little difficult because the tickets themselves do not contain race. But more than that, what we're trying to do is in our system document stops, whether you give them a warning or a summons, so that way we don't have to rely on the summonses. I think again on the state level, I think some push is being made to change the state summons to include that, so that way it can start being monitored. But we're also trying to get our cops, and we're working on a program where they put it in our database, whether you give them a ticket or not. And again, a lot of it will be based on their own determination. As you said, we can't start asking people, what do you identify as, or what's your race, and this and that. But and then we'll log it on there as to what happened. So if they got a summons, it documents that they got a summons, if they gave a person a warning, and then we can start seeing, how is that shaken out? You know what I mean? So, that's something that we're looking to get up and running. So maybe that will address it. As I said, I can give you the suspended license numbers. That I don't know if that will be. I don't know the value of it. I don't know if it'll be indicative of to show how the percentage of people we're pulling over, because I don't know. There's other factors involved with the suspended license. Whether there's anything out there that shows that one group of people is any more likely to drive without licenses or suspended licenses. I don't know. Maybe that's looking into to see where we're falling into. I know Katrina, you and I, we've had some great conversations. I'd like to think we are equal opportunity when it comes to writing tickets. If you know about anything about White Plains, everybody I've gotten tickets in White Plains. I don't know if it's outright. I know you're just trying to make a point, but I'd like to think that if somebody's driving around with lights on, it doesn't matter what they look like, that we're going to be, as cops, we're going to stop them. And then once they pull over, we're going to give them a parking ticket. But regardless of what they look like. But you do. I get you're making valid claims about, you want to know what we're doing, and that is completely fair. The stopping of people is. There was a time, I think, I don't know. See, I can't remember the committees that who I've said what to, but I generally say the same things. So I know at another committee I said, we used to use stopping question a lot years ago when street type crimes were a little bit more prevalent, when Crime in general was higher. And I don't think we stop people except for the crime part. You know, I mean, if something is going on, that reasonable suspicion that something's going on, we do document it. But so that's something that I can maybe look at, pull out our field stop reports and see who's being stopped. You know, not, and I don't know if you want to hear the trespass, the philosophy behind that. I can go into that. But I don't know. I'm not trying to defend everything that you said. I understand the point you make. You know what I mean? And some of the stuff we're already ahead of, I think, with the stops. We're trying to document that. So I mean, they're all good recommendations. Some we're trying to do already.
Yeah, like I said earlier, the White Plains, I think you guys are, you know, ahead of everything, but because you and Captain Spencer are here, and then 10 years from now when you guys are gone and retired, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, there's things, the systems in play that continue. It's not just because
Exactly.
Captain Castelli and Chief Castelli and Captain Spencer did it. This is the norm, and this is the way it's always going to be. So that's what we're trying to make sure that happens here.
Institutionalize it.
Can I just add that those points that you made, Trina, are very valid, especially the ones about putting that stop data, posting it. I think it'll be a better tool for us to use internally, because when you think about it, over 200 officers or over the 91st responders that may be writing tickets, there may not be anything glaring if we post everything for the public. But if we look at it internally, officer to officer, we may find something that we don't like that we'll be able to pick out and correct. So I thank you for because I'd never really thought about it until you said it today, how we could use that. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I was driving through Newburgh today and I was a victim of driving while something it couldn't be explained other than, my wife's car is actually nice, not mine. So I was driving her car, and I was in a neighborhood that, probably I don't know, but so I understand where you're coming from. So thank you again.
And also to be able to have the conversation with an officer who's an outlier and whose data suggests he's disproportionately stopping Black people, and to have that conversation with him, he might shut down. I heard the deputy commissioner of Cambridge Police Department, she's Black, and she was talking about trying to speak with one of the officers whose data on stops was way out in terms of Black people. And she said in public that he just shut down. It was very hard to have this conversation.
Yeah, and
or maybe that they don't realize what they're doing, and we can educate them and say, hey, if this is a problem, you need to fix this.
Exactly. Like I had with back in, I think it was like 2001, Cap, you remember that guy? He was I was a street sergeant, and patrolman came to me, white and Black, and said, boss, do you see who he's pulling over? And White Plains, the bars, it's like 95% white. It's not really any, not too many Blacks hanging out, no bars on the Mount Avenue, Post Road. But this officer was pulling over 7 or 8 cars a night, all Black people. And I wasn't following him around, but officers came to me and told me, hey, you need to watch this. And I watched him. He stopped the car, and I pulled up on his stop, and I noticed, and I put up another stop. And I said, well, okay, there's a problem here. So the next night he rode with me for the entire night. And I just had serious talks with him. I didn't accuse him of anything, but I just talked about tolerance and just being fair and, pulling cars over for the right reasons. And he changed, and, he ended up having a great career. So, and I documented the stop, but, it's like I said, if the chief is not there and Captain Spencer's not there, 5-10 years from now, another chief and the captain are there, they may not even care that it's happening. But the officers that worked in my squad, they knew that they can come to me, and they told me, confidentiality, and
I think
it was addressed.
I think it'll be a good tool, more so for us internally. And for those of you guys who haven't read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, it's a good read, and it speaks to things like this.
Say that again, Jimmy.
Put it in the chat, Captain Spencer.
Yeah.
Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. I will put it in the chat. He's one of my favorite authors. The first book I read of his was The Tipping Point. How little things make a big difference. He's gone on to written like several really good books about social issues and just things that happen in society. And it's, Outliers is the one that I think of when we're having this conversation. So I'll put it in the chat.
Actually, Karen just put it in the chat already. Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen. Yeah, and even to another point, and by all means, I'm not attacking our police force, because I think that just as we have issues with the public, with just making our, I just want our police department to be the best. Like I said, I'm invested here in White Plains. And it is important also that our police department know that they are valued, they are appreciated. I feel safe here. I'm sure that everybody can say that. You can't really go too many places, and to where because of my interaction with the public, I am constantly meeting people that are new residents to White Plains and letting them know, like, hey, our town is safe. If it's not, I can't say it's 100%, but if there's any time that you don't feel safe, our just call our police department. If you're walking, it looks like somebody's following you, or you don't feel safe, you can call our department and they'll send somebody to do a drive-by, and just to make sure that you feel safe and that you get home safely. And this couple that moved here happened to be from Queens, and they were like, really, they were like astonished, and they said, well, wow, well, we didn't have that in Queens. And I was like, yeah, I bet. But I said, here, I said, you got it. I said, I can vouch for them. There's a lot of good people, but the few bad ones, we just got to make sure that we do take these steps to keep our town clean, safe, keep it in the 100 top cities in the country. And the police department is a major factor in that. So these recommendations, I think that, that we do need a CRB, and the reasons for it is so that people can feel comfortable. I noticed that in most of the complaints, that a lot of, I think the ones that just going by 2020, everything was unfounded. I wanted to know what makes it unfounded. Like, how are so many cases unfounded? The internal ones, however, were, it's, I don't think that I really don't want us to be too consumed with the internal ones. Really, I think that to penalize a police officer for being late, or late to his post, or late to work and getting a suspension, I don't think that's fair. If this is a good cop that is on the job and doing and going above and beyond in the line of duty, but to get suspended for being late, it's like,
Well,
you know.
the the only example we use with that, just so you don't think that I'm a mean guy, is the
I don't.
I know, but I mean, the cop that's late once, and the same day the cop that's been late 4 times. So the cop that's late once, you say, okay, don't be late again. The cop that's late 4 times, there's discipline, because they're not learning their lesson. We can't have people show up late for work. We do have assignments and posts. So that's just a basic example of the internal stuff. And there is based on some of the work we have to do, there's a paramilitary aspect to it that you have to follow certain rules, because when the important rules come around, we don't want to have to to have to worry about whether you're going to pay attention to them if you can't follow the easy one. So that, I mean, that's just a basic kind of way of explaining that. But you know what I should do, and she's not here, and it's very unfortunate. If you want to set something else up, you could speak to my internal affairs sergeant and hear from her what her investigation entails and how she goes about doing her job when she receives a complaint. I can tell you that she's extremely thorough. She has the utmost integrity. She understands what her job is and that it's not an easy job, that sometimes it is to investigate cops to find out if there was any wrongdoing. So when it says, I know some of the 2020, it says the case is still active on some of the excessive force. But if it's unfounded, means based on her investigation, the claims are unfounded. But it's not just, it's not for lack of trying. We start from trying to substantiate the claims. Let's find out, let's assume they're true. Now find the evidence to prove they're true. In the cases, if everything keeps going towards that they're not substantiated or we can't prove them, and again, a lot has to do with body camera. A lot has to do with numerous officers on scene, that type of thing, where we still, interview officers and everything else. But now that we have cameras, it's a great thing. You can't hide. So it's not, I don't want you to necessarily hear from me, and maybe it doesn't matter if my professional standards sergeant was here or not. I understand when cops say nothing was done wrong, that there's a little bit of skepticism there. I absolutely understand that. But, from the same point, I know the job that we do. And I get what you're saying. So that might be good for me and it might be good for Spencer. What about 10 years down the road? But I think there's things in place that generally guarantee that a honest, independent investigation of the officer's actions. But that's, again, so that's what unfounded means. Just say, if you wanted clarification on some of the notes, I kind of figured we'd talk about some of the, how you guys read them and what your questions were. But that would be it. And I wish she was available right now.
Okay.
But we do a thorough investigation, and I'm not saying that I'd rather you hear from her the pains that she takes in how she does an investigation, thorough.
Do you feel comfortable keeping it inside the department? Or, I mean, I know that the commissioner in Mount Vernon told me he's concerned if civilians get involved with police discipline matters. He said he's concerned that they don't understand the nature of policing. That's what he told me.
So do I think that you should have, if somebody was going to be involved, they should absolutely have perspective? I know some of the CCRB that especially the Albany one that you brought up, there is training involved. So I certainly think there should be training. I mean, to not have an understanding, how do you know if a dentist is doing something wrong if you don't know a little bit about dentistry? And just to use that as an example.
The other concern is, what if your internal affairs person feels favorably about one person and not so favorably about another, and not based on anything measurable, but just people have feelings about each other. Oh, that person is this way, that person, I don't know. And if she's worked with people that she's supposed to discipline, I think it makes it harder to be fair and impartial. And I know for myself, I think it's hard as well. So that's why I'm asking.
That could happen with any organization, including
Exactly.
the CCRB.
Exactly.
I would hope, Nada, that if you were looking at disciplining me and Chief Costelli, that you would be more lenient on me because we have such a great relationship.
Actually,
I-
the fact that we have a great relationship means I'm going to be much tougher because I have very high expectations.
Great,
So if you
That's like
disappoint me, then you're in for it.
great.
me when I coach. My
Well-
kids get it worse than anybody, you know?
You know, so not to get back to the question at hand, but I understand what you're saying. There could be some implied or potential conflict of interest, and that makes things difficult. There's a couple of answers here that I think, yes, it does make it difficult, but it doesn't make it impossible. And again, I think it does go toward the person. You need to have the right person. That's why I think it would be beneficial. I might be putting her on the spot, but I'd love for you to have her on a Zoom. So you can
Maybe we should do that, Katrina.
make your own judgments. But the other thing would be, I also have a detective who has been assigned with her. He is 100% capable also. So between those two, the chances of both of them coming across somebody where there might be some concern about personal feelings that involved, I could give it one or the other. And the other thing is that, and again, I'm not the end all be all, but they do have to run everything by me, and I am certainly conscious of making sure that we are objective, and that I'm objective, and it's there are a little bit of checks and balances there. I do look at if we're doing some type of discipline or something or what we've done in the past to see if it measured up on the fairness level, meaning similar circumstances. Have we why are we giving this person 2 weeks when 3 years ago we gave somebody did the same thing, a week's suspension or something.
Right.
And that's more I know that's more the internal stuff, and I think you're more worried about the external complaints. All I can tell you is that I have the utmost confidence in Sergeant Cano that she is going to be fair and even if it hurts the department, if it's something that needs to be fixed and brought out, that she will bring it up.
How long
And
has she been with White Plains Police Department?
Over 20 years.
Yeah, I know her, and I definitely back chief up on her credit, both the sergeant and the detective. But again, when they're gone, I want to make sure that we have, and we want the community to trust the internal affairs process. That's why, we're preaching the oversight, because I know her, I know both of them are solid, but does a man down the street know them? But if they know, hey, there's a third party reviewing everything, there's a civilian complaint board reviewing everything when they're done, now I trust the police department because I know they're going to do it right, because I know there's a third party, overseeing their investigation. So they're not going to try to look out for their buddy, or if Sergeant Cano gets, retires, someone else moves in, and if, they come from, their buddies, everybody, things may change. So if there's an oversight committee or, civilian or third party, whatever, the chances are the case is going to be, it's more likely, no matter who's there, it's going to be done right.
I agree.
And yeah, because right now I'm telling you, there's the community, they have no trust in the police department, our White Plains Police Department. They have especially the younger ones that are coming up, because most of the older ones, or the ones in my range, a lot of those people, there's a few, but a lot of them are out of the community now. They're not even here. So that next generation, which is more reckless, and they have the respect level is completely different. And even though, we're coming at the department to make sure that the department is doing the right thing, and that the necessary measures are put in place now for the future. At the same time, yeah, the community is a different community. We didn't have gangs. We didn't have that threat of you know, to where they're really killing, shooting and killing. It wasn't shooting in White Plains 30 years ago. They were having fist fights, you know. Um, so yeah, we understand that the change, but at the same time, um, there's we need stuff in place that to rebuild the trust in the community, and so that it is a cohesive relationship, so that it's not us against them, or people think that you know, they're F the police, that's their mentality. You know, we got to reiterate to the younger generation that um for them to know, like I know, like, no, you can trust the police. You know, if somebody did you wrong in the department, you can go. There is a agency that you can go to and get justice, um or get peace of mind, get resolution to the situation. And you know, I just within the department, I think I just think that there's going to be conflict. It's going to be conflict. That you know, it's not that um it's not that that agency, and even for the police department to know, not to be thinking that if there's an outside entity that's going to um examine these complaints, that it's not, that they should have to be fearful, thinking that again it's them against us. You know, we're one unit, and it's important that we work together. But if it's somebody on the outside and they see negativity, they're not going to whomever it may be, and the resolution isn't necessarily like um to be um to have them, if and to have them, the punishment to be that they're arrested. But I think that's another issue we need to look at. No, if an officer, I don't care if you're an officer, right is right and wrong is wrong. If you're an officer and you commit a crime against somebody, if you abuse your authority, no, you shouldn't just lose your job. You should be arrested. You know, and that you're not above the law. These are also things that need to be in place. That if there's um not, I'm not saying that if they had to protect themselves, you know, somebody's coming at them and they had to shoot somebody for them to hesitate shooting or be shot. No, you got to go home. Um you have to live to see another day. You have to go home to your family. This is a job that you signed up for. But all these things taken into consideration, it has to be fair on both levels. And just somebody, just that outside, I think that there's more. It builds trust in the community. um it brings, to have the trust within the department, it's not against you, it's to help you. There are people that, you know, they think wrong for a minute, or if they haven't been around a certain ethnic group, they have these stereotypes in their mind. And the continued efforts that we do to bond the community with the police department, for them to know that, if you know, to get to know another culture, to not buy into the biased um thought that you think. um and even though, you know, there's a lot of wrong. I When I'm at Kennedy Fried Chicken on a Friday night, I feel like I'm white, because I'm like, who are these people? You know, because it's like, but because of who I am, you know, I am like, I do speak up. What are you doing? You is that nice? These are people. Like, you know, they think that the way they treat the staff there that work at Kennedy, it's like, no, you don't, yo, my man. No, you don't have manners. You act like you come from a home. And and at the same time, you know, it's just a lot. It's a lot of community with the police department, and a lot of work, a lot of things we gotta get in place. This is just the start, but it's not going to we we just need that outside. I just feel that we need that outside agency. Any recommendation, any way, anything, even not just coming from us, but from you, Chief, too, you, Jimmy, anything that you feel that can help us form a coalition that's going to work together, be in fairness, for the community and for the department.
Funny, I listening to you talk, I'm like, we miss you, man. You should have been a cop. You would have been great out there. You would have been excellent. I can see right now that in Candy, somebody, hey, watch your manners and in your police uniform. You know, I think that'll be like, they will listen to you.
It's not too late for her to change careers.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I
it's a
couldn't get
cutoff.
through the academy.
Yeah.
I'm almost double the age over. But hey, I went through the civilian academy. Look, I don't have a little badge, but believe me, I police these streets all the time.
But don't the police need community liaison officers?
I think that would, again, I would be a great idea, an absolutely great idea. If that's something that we could,
but we would have to start her as a sergeant, though, Chief.
Exactly.
It would be part of the atonement for what the sins of the White Plains Police Department. Make her a community liaison officer. I'd be happy to see that.
I would love it. So it's so bad to where my daughter, even my grandson, he'll see the behavior. He'll know instantly. He's like, Granny, don't say anything. Don't say anything. And I was like, because he knows I'm turning, I'm getting ready to say something. I cannot stand there and just,
ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah. My heart is bigger than my stature, to where it's like I have to say something. I can't see wrong and not say anything. I sit there, I try to, but I can't, especially at Kennedy's. You had to see it Friday night. I was tired. I'm coming home. These two big guys. They big, but they're young, and I'm like, and I just turned around and they're over the counter. I was like, first of all, you need to step back and stay behind the glass. And second of all, where's your mask? You put your mask on. And then they stop and they turn and they look down at me like, whose mask? I said, your mask, yours either. Neither one of y'all have on a mask. Don't you know numbers are going up? And they stood there for a few minutes looking at each other, like wondering what to do. That this short woman is basically correcting them. And
Good.
They walked out and got their mask.
Good.
Yeah.
Can I offer something for consideration? If this is going to be a recommendation from the Transparency and Accountability Subcommittee, I think that the subcommittee should consider having members who are ex-law enforcement from maybe like the Guardians could offer a retired officer. WILIA, the Westchester Hispanic Law Enforcement Association, can offer a retired member, and maybe like, I don't know, the Emerald Society, because I think that, to Wade's point, I think you need to be at least have a perspective as at one time being a police officer. I can watch Star Trek day and night, Star Wars, but I still can't be an astronaut. So I think that someone needs, that this board, if it's going to be a recommendation, needs to be built around experience.
But you're not talking about stacking the CRB with X.
Not stacking, but you need to know, like I'm not going to go into a doctor's office and and be, equipped to tell him what he's doing wrong or he should have did it this way. I can't go into a classroom and speak to a teacher doing something. And on the same token, I think that you need to have some basis and experience to be able to say this is reasonable and this is common practice in policing, or this is a common practice that we need to change, and to have that experience.
But also I see the CRB as a bridging institution. It bridges civilians with law enforcement, and
Exactly.
it helps civilians understand the different perspective coming from law enforcement.
Exactly.
So I have no problem with a handful, maybe 20 to 30% of the CRB, but I would not recommend the majority of the CRB.
But these retired law enforcement are civilians. They're not police officers. Like Wade is a civilian. He's not a police officer, but he has police experience, and it's very valuable.
It is definitely very valuable, but I still think we need
the
other.
other side of the coin, when we're talking about trust, we're also talking about the trust of the police officers. The police officers will be more apt to trust a board who they feel has experience and knows some of the challenges that they're going through. Just something for consideration if this is going to be a recommendation.
Okay.
And it's a good recommendation, Captain, but at the same time, maybe a few, but see, because the CRB is still not separating. They're still going back. They're still working with the internal affairs unit. So they're still working with the internal affairs to like Nada said, a bridging. Whereas if it's ex law enforcement with current law enforcement, nope, it's not going to work.
I can see where you're coming from. Yeah.
You still need because
community people on the CRB.
Because even though Wade is local, he grew up in this community, he hung in this community, and he policed this community, but at the same time, during his tenure as law enforcement, there's still certain things he didn't see because he was an officer. So there's still certain, there's certain incidents that he didn't see that, say, his brother seen, because he wasn't law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? So you still need most of that community. That's I mean, I'm not law enforcement, and I've seen a lot a lot from different perspectives. I've seen when Tory Thomas opened up Pick and Roll on Mamaroneck Avenue. I've seen the whole police force come bombard his establishment, and this is when he was just starting. This is before the whole brawl situation. He was just getting the place started, and I seen them come in there constantly harassing him. This is a young man who is just trying to establish a business, and instead of him getting support from the community, they came in, coming telling him no, his paperwork wasn't right, he had to shut down, and he was being harassed by law enforcement. That, so I'm telling you,
Katrina. So this is where I was involved when Tory came in to talk about how to set up an establishment and do it right, and this is where, when we get into the he said she said type of thing, we did support him. He asked us you know, he didn't want to be an establishment that drew a problematic crowd. He wanted to be a good businessman, provide a good, and we worked with him all the way. Some of the stuff that you're talking about, I mean, you know, I was there and as a lieutenant and a captain, I mean, he was, there were outright like Western brawls in that place that
Yeah.
we had to respond to.
That came after.
well,
Yeah,
my-
because I was, yeah,
so I'm just telling you, if somebody says is being told you can't open up, and I'm only telling you not because this is what I think, but you know, you can't open up because you don't have the right documents in place, and they open up anyway. And then the building department says, hey, we can't allow this to happen because then somebody else is going to do it. If we don't, you know, we just can't have people doing what they want. This is where we're the enforcement arm, and we get the bad name. Meaning, trust me when I tell you, I don't think in general we could care about occupancy and this and that, maybe liquor licenses and things like that. And I think part of the problem was not so much Tory, but some of the other people involved in it. And I hate to have to, I don't like to be like defensive. You know what I mean? I understand that there's valid issues and me being defensive about every time you bring something up, but you bring up a point that they were harassing, and you know, it's not about Tory and the color of his skin. It's the circumstances involved, and there have been plenty of other there've been other things with other establishments that have not been run by people of color who face the same problems from the police department because they were not following the rules. It just looks bad because it happens to be Tory and there were a lot of police there. You know what I mean? So I don't want to go into the ifs and, you know, all the things on it, but you know, the only reason I'm saying it because I was there when he came in and his lawyers and the police department to try to explain how to run a business, how to be, you know, where the police are a partner, you know what I mean, and not seen as the enforcement and you know that's where we started out. Again, how it ended up might be a different story, but you know, I just don't think he wasn't being targeted because of who he was and what he looked like. It was the other stuff that we would apply to anybody, and I truly believe that. But I know what it looks like. I know. But part of the problem is the perception that is out there, and it's on us to try to do everything we can to change that perception. So I was involved in that. That's why the only reason I
okay.
thought to kind of respond to it. But I do get what you're saying, but sometimes everything to me is not what it looks like. But
And
sometimes
I appreciate that.
just to also talk about you know, having retired law enforcement be part of a civilian complaint review board. There's pros and cons to it, and like, you know I would be impartial, but I know other retired police officers who still have that same mindset. And if they were on some civilian complaint review board, I mean, I'm on Facebook, and a lot of retired cops are on Facebook, and I go to battle with them all the time about the current issues. And I'm like, some things never change. I mean, I posted about New York City first Black African American chief of patrol. I posted on Facebook. I was proud of, hey, you know, that they promoted this female to be chief of patrol, and a couple of retired cops turned it negative. And I'm like, oh my God, you know. So yeah, so I definitely see the issue with
She's
you know,
awesome, by the way.
that.
She's
Yeah,
awesome.
she is.
She's
And
awesome, by the way.
if you saw my Facebook posting and you saw some of the comments I got from some of the guys I used to work with, I'm just like, are you serious? I mean, so I don't think it'll work if you know, that probably won't work just because of that, because some people just don't, you know, they can't be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might be that not an issue, but so you can also argue the other side that, you know, some people, no matter what you put in front of them, the cops did something bad.
True.
So, you know, the selection process is gonna, you know, have to be diligent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yeah, so that yeah, but it's like, you're going to need that, and yeah, not a militant. That's what I'm saying, not a board that's against the police. There's only the and it only takes one. Only takes one to make a whole department look bad. But it's how you deal with that one that'll make the department look, oh, okay. You see, they got rid of him, right? You know, um, that it won't be that ignorance. That's what it is. Ignorance will not be tolerated at any level. Any level. Not our department, not in our city, not anywhere.
I
So
was,
where,
I was pleased that McNerney managed to get rid of an officer who was posting very horrible things on his Facebook. Although I was also surprised because I thought of, freedom of expression and all of that. But I guess a chief can terminate an officer for inappropriate Facebook posts.
We have a social media policy.
Yeah, a lot of companies have that, so I'm sure the police does
Mhm.
too.
But there are, yeah, we do have it. Hopefully we don't have to test it because there are some constitutional issues, but I think if it was certainly something outright offensive, I think we.
Because he's,
We have-
you're
have
sending
to
a strong
constitutional
message
things
to
get
the
rid of.
officers
Oh, I
that,
agree.
that the behavior will not be tolerated.
Absolutely.
No,
Until they
were
retire.
very offensive. They were very offensive Facebook posts. What was that, Wade?
I said until they retire, then it's gloves off because I see it all the time.
Oh. So they're
Mm.
suppressing it, in other words. Oh.
Some are. I mean, most cops are great, but yeah, like I said, when I got hired, there was a lot of knuckleheads, and now they're all retired and they're all on Facebook.
Wow.
Which makes the hiring process all the more crucial.
Yes,
What kind of people are
Mhm.
you bringing in?
I agree.
that's the other committee that I'm going to be talking about tonight at 7. We got some plans for that one. All right, so we're good. I don't want
Well, let me see. Issues. So I need some issues to submit.
You mean for the sheet?
Yeah. Well, we're not gonna be able to. I'm sorry. We're not gonna be.
Yeah,
able,
I wouldn't worry
to do-
about I wouldn't worry about presenting tonight because we got to make sure
Okay.
this is right. So we're just telling you not
Yeah.
ready. We're not ready.
Okay.
And plus the
Absolutely.
chief,
It's
yeah.
Karen.
We may have an opportunity. Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, Wade. I just, I wanted to reiterate that. If you don't feel that the subcommittee is ready yet, I'll let Janice know that. Wade, your subcommittee has some preliminary recommendations that they are comfortable discussing at tonight's
Yes.
meeting. Okay, so we definitely have that. I think that might be the only subcommittee that might be ready. Although I could, maybe I'll reach out to Reverend Trollinger to see if he's ready. Other than that, I don't think anyone else is ready. So we'll get it over the next few meetings. Everyone will, have the opportunity to present.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks, Karen.
Do you want, do you want to set up another meeting, or Katrina, you can just be in touch with me about that?
Yeah. I'll be in touch. We'll set. Yeah, because we will need another meeting. We will set up another meeting, and we'll try to see if maybe we can get Sergeant Cano and Detective. Is it Cunningham or Cummings? Cunningham.
Yeah, that would be a good
And-
meeting.
And I'm that.
You let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want, let me, I'll send you, I'm assuming this week is pretty much shot. So I'll send you when they're working next week, when they're working together. And I'll also try to get that data that we talked about to you as quick as I can. But I'll get that to you. I'll get you their availability hopefully by tomorrow. Is that all right?
Yeah, with
Yeah.
me?
I don't
Okay.
know.
You're the
boss,
chair.
right? You're the boss of this committee, right?
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it's funny because I'm looking at you on Zoom and I think that people realize I'm looking at them and I'm just a Zoom idiot. That's all it is.
Yes, that's fine.
All right. So yeah, now I'll get it. I'll send it to you and then yeah, I guess we'll figure out a day or you'll let us know a day that works. But I'm safe to assume Wednesday and Friday are out. Right? We'll start hitting for Monday, next Monday forward, although the 30th is not good for us. So I'll look for the first.
Yeah, we'll look for
Okay,
after.
Sounds good.
great.
Alrighty.
Well,
Okay, I guess if that's it, um, let me see. I know there was, yeah, that is, anybody else have any other comments, questions?
No, good meeting. I had a quick question about later on, Karen. The if you can hear me, the sheet I sent you, you're gonna send it to everybody, or how does it work tonight?
I thought, Wade, that I could just share my screen
Okay.
and then that way it would be up and everyone could see it and, you know, you could work from that.
Sounds good.
And then we can, I guess, decide, you know, whether it's ready. I can send it out to everybody, but I just thought for tonight, maybe sharing the screen would work best.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know that we, you know, I just think that it's important, Captain Spencer, Chief Castelli, you know, for you to really know that these things, that these issues that we're bringing out, you know, I know we said it before, but for you to really know that it's not anything against the department in a whole. It's just to establish a foundation so that the proper procedures and proper things can be put in place to better the department, to do what we can to not have incidents that happened in the past happen in the future. And but nothing can be guaranteed, that if anything should happen, that there is a process that's put in place to address those situations. Basically, if you got a beautiful lawn and a dandelion pops up in your lawn, you're gonna want to pluck that dandelion out of your lawn.
No, Katrina, it's medicinal and it's very good for you. It's good for the liver. Don't pluck it. Don't put pesticides on your lawn. We need dandelions. The pollinators need dandelions.
Okay, so okay, well, a weed,
We understand. We understand.
Catch point.
you know, just to pluck out that bad weed, and not necessarily, you know, the extent of, okay, they're automatically fired. You know, people make bad decisions and they can be reconciled from their behavior, or, you know, or not thinking at that moment. You know, there is reconciliation. There is a means of, you know what, I really shouldn't have done that. I did act badly. Um, but if you let it go unnoticed or try to cover it up, that's not the solution. So if we can, and it goes on both ends. We need that comfortability with the police department as well as the community. Community needs to know that their lives matter, that they have a resource that they can go to make sure that they are being treated fairly. And I think that, you know, if we can do it, if we can work together to formulate that type of committee, that our city will be the number one best city in the nation. And that's all I have to say.
Got it.
very good.
Yeah. So everybody, I thank you so much for your time, for your work. Chief Castelli, you've been awesome in getting us the information that we needed. I appreciate your time and your efforts and listening to me talk your ears off as you went home last week.
No, it's quite all right. It's always enjoyable. Even when
But
it's painful, it's enjoyable talking to you. Oh, yeah, I don't mean to run.
Okay.
I
No,
got to take this
go
call.
ahead.
I've been waiting. I won't,
Bye-bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Goodbye.
Happy
Goodbye,
Thanksgiving.
everybody.
Thank
Happy
you. You too.
Thanksgiving. I'll see y'all
Oh,
tonight.
so Wade, the meeting tonight is not for everybody?
No, it is.
Oh, okay.
It's a full committee meeting.
It's a full committee meeting.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So
You all
tonight,
right?
see you at 7. Thanks, Karen.
Bye.
And bye-bye.